If I were you, Ubisoft, I would lock my fucking doors when I sleep. Ever since I was a wee lad, there was one game and one game only that I played, and it was Prince of Persia. I was introduced to the series by my mamu, and ever since then I was like, yup, this is going to be my personality for the rest of my life. And oh boy, it sure was. And when I say this is the only game I played, I fucking mean this is the only game I played. Two Thrones, I remember every single fucking room of that game. Warrior Within, I can't count on my fucking fingers how many times I ended that game. And when Forgotten Sands was released, I downloaded its save files after beating it twice just so I can play it from anywhere I want. And that's all I did. What I would do is I would back up the save files, and whenever I wanted to play, I just picked up a save file, put it in the backup folder and in the save folder, and I would just play the game from there, from any place I wanted. That's how much I loved that game, okay? And how Ubisoft ruined that franchise? It's safe to say I'm pretty mad about that. And after all these years, they decide to give us a game, and it's a fucking remake. I mean, look at this shit. If I were you, Ubisoft, I would lock my fucking doors when I sleep.
Whoa, chill, dude, what?
I don't know what's up with that guy. Since Ubisoft has decided that it's not gonna give us a good Prince of Persia game and it's gonna give us the same game with different names, I am looking at you, Assassin's Creed. Since Ubisoft is deciding to not give us a Prince of Persia game, I thought, fuck it, we'll make our own happiness, right? I'm going to play through every single Prince of Persia game. And oh boy, I wasn't expecting what I was getting myself into. I didn't even know there were this many Prince of Persia games in the first place. And a Prince of Persia dating simulator on top of that? What the So without further ado, let's begin. I'm going to divide this into three parts. The classical era, the golden era, and Ubisoft is clearly edging us era. And let's just begin. The first game on the list was the Prince of Persia from 1999, which was way before God decided to grace this earth with me. But I still remember in my childhood playing that game a lot, but I remember I fucking hated it. In fact, I don't think I ever got past the first enemy of that game, because while playing it I only remembered the first few rooms and I didn't remember anything after that. The story and the way it presents itself in the game is very simple, it's not really that complicated, so I'll give you a brief of it. So the story goes like this. Imagine Persia. I know, but stay with me for a second. The Sultan of that kingdom is nowhere to be seen, and there is an evil vizier trying to capture the kingdom and already is kind of ruling the kingdom in the absence of Sultan, but is of course a piece of shit. And the last obstacle in his way, as the game says itself, is the princess, which I am a little bit confused about. I mean, okay, Sultan is not there, but does the princess have no one else? What are the story implications of that? Does that mean Jafar killed everyone else so far? And if the Sultan is missing, where is the Sultan? This game doesn't answer any of those questions. But Jafar comes to our princess and goes, buddy, you got only 1 hour. You either marry me or you fucking die. And what does our princess decide to do? Absolutely nothing. But she just does nothing. She just sits there hoping her love will come and save her. I mean, to be honest, that doesn't seem very smart, but we will go with it. What she doesn't know is her love is already captured by Jafar, and that is us. And we wake up in a fucking prison. That's where the game starts. We don't really have anything because we were thrown into prison, and I'm pretty sure this guy drank something because his movements are just... It's basically like he's drunk. You press one key and he just goes flying in that direction. But I'm going off track. So we try to explore the prison, and it's more like a dungeon than a prison, which has a lot of traps and locked gates. I mean, that makes sense, except the gates just open when you step on a stone in front of the gate. I mean, I am not a security expert, but that doesn't seem fine to me. And after exploring some rooms in the dungeon, literally a few rooms over, there is a sword just sitting there in a prison. I mean, I don't think the Jafar guy, this vizier, is really that smart. But yeah, we decide to pick up that sword, and then we just start going through the dungeon, start climbing up the castle, killing these soldiers, I presume, that are in the dungeon as well, or maybe guarding us. They don't do a very good job. You can just throw them down. Like, the the floor is just crumbling in some places. It's weird, okay? It's weird. But it gets even more weirder, and this is where I was shocked. So if you are familiar with the Prince of Persia series, you know in these series and in the stories there is a very strong implication about time travel and some weird entities and creatures that exist in the world and some weird powers. And I thought that concept came when like sands of time started to happen in the golden era. But no, while just exploring this game and playing it through, you come across a mirror. And what you have to do is you have to jump through that mirror, and from the other side there's just this shadowy guy that leaves. And you see this shadowy guy throughout the playthrough. And it's just you, right? It's very safe to say that it's just a mirror or shadowy version of you. It does happen in later Prince of Persia games, but in this one, they just do it and it is never explained. You just see the guy just fucking you over. One time he just closes a gate on you while you are trying to jump, implying that he's trying to kill you. I don't know why, because they never explain it. In the story, it's pretty standard. You keep going, the mirror shadowy guy appears sometimes and you just keep climbing the castle trying to reach Jafar or reach the princess so you can save her. So you keep doing that, and then you just find potions in this dungeon, which I again presume is a prison that they are throwing people in. You just find potions that do random shit to you. For example, at one time there is a huge fall. You really don't know where to go, but there's a potion. We decide to drink that potion. Don't ask me why I decided to do that, but we decide to drink that potion, and what you have to do is just jump. And the game doesn't tell you anything. And why that is weird is because some of the potions you find earlier in the game, they just hurt you. They don't do anything. They just take your life away. So there is literally no incentive for you to drink another potion and know that you have to do it this way. So clearly they don't know what the fuck they're doing with the security of this palace. We will decide to ignore that as well. You keep going, and then your shadowy guy appears again and he wants to fight you now. I was like, sure. Then you just fight him, and in the middle of the fight he decides he doesn't want to fight you anymore. And we both just merge again? What? They don't explain anything, okay? I am hoping they will in the later versions, because that's usually how it goes. But I'm not really sure. So we merge with the guy, and then we just start walking. And wherever we walk, there is just a void that we are walking towards, and the floor is appearing under our foot, and that's normal, I guess. But then we find Jafar, we kill him, we save the princess. That's pretty much the whole story. But pretty weird so far. I was not expecting this. I was thinking in the classical era, Prince of Persia had a very standard save the princess kind of story, but not really. They have had some stuff pretty fleshed out from the very, very beginning, and that's very, very surprising to me. Can't wait to play more. So the second game on the list is Prince of Persia Shadow and the Flame, and this is basically the continuation of the last game, and I just got done playing it, and playing this game felt like a fever dream to me. There is a lot to unpack here, so let's just begin. So, the story of, again, as I said, the story of this one starts with the continuation of the previous one. The previous one was left off where the prince and the princess married and they were living happily ever after. But in this game, we get to know that it was only for 11 days that lasted. And also, the Sultan is back, by the way. He wasn't gone anywhere, or he wasn't just dead. He just went away to fight in a war or something. So yeah, he's back. So one day when the prince is entering the courtroom, he feels very weird, like he feels some sort of shivers. And when he enters the courtroom, everyone is staring at him. So he goes into the room, talks to the princess, and then from the back, guess who it is, boys? Jafar is back. Somehow. I mean, I clearly remember in the last game he fell off a goddamn platform. But I guess he survived, and the amount of crazy shit he does in this movie seems to me that he's some sort of immortal god in the movie, but we'll get to that. So turns out that the evil guy has put a spell on everyone, which is a big thing. Like putting a spell on a whole kingdom, that's insane. So
he has put a spell on everyone and he has disguised himself as the prince and no one can recognize the prince anymore. Because he talked to the princess, the fake prince, who is again Jafar, orders guards to kill the man for just talking to the princess. I mean, I'm not really sure how kingdoms are run in this game, but that seems to me pretty wild, right? Prince just starts running. He doesn't explain himself. He doesn't try to, because again guards are trying to kill him. So he just dips out of there, jumps off of a building and just starts running. And you would expect that after he runs from the guards, he fights them and he just runs away and then just sits and plans to come back to save his princess because he's married to the princess. But nope. The guy just gets on his boat that he came on because he was a sailor before and just leaves. He's like, okay, dude. Okay, so here, let me just give you again a recap. So someone is taking over his kingdom that is also his now because he's the prince of it, and that person just takes his disguise and he says the guards to catch him. He runs away and then just doesn't even try to get the kingdom back. He just gets on his boat and leaves. What? And then afterwards, once he gets on his boat and he's leaving, he's just tired, he's just dying on the boat or something, or sleeping. And then we get a weird flashback of a lady just saying, "Come to me." And this lady throughout the game just says one thing: "Come to me, come to me." And it's very weird. She's just talking to the prince, and for most of the game it isn't explained. Then when the prince wakes up, he sees this Jafar guy in the clouds, and then a bolt of lightning strikes his ship and the ship just breaks. If Jafar has that kind of power, why doesn't he just kill the prince? I mean what's up with that? Why make him survive so he can come back and take his revenge? I don't understand who this Jafar guy is, because by the looks of it he seems to be really powerful. I mean, why not kill the Sultan and just take the whole kingdom for himself? So I'm not really sure what's going on there. But we'll continue. So what's happening back at the kingdom is that the Sultan just leaves the kingdom to fight another war. He has a lot of wars and he just leaves the kingdom for that. So behind his back, Jafar takes over the whole kingdom for the second time and he just puts the princess to sleep. And there is a timer again for some reason, because just after that scene, we hear the voice of that woman again who was talking to the prince, and she says to the prince that there is a random tree and when all the leaves fall from that tree, the princess is going to die. Why? We are not really sure. I am pretty sure the developers and story writers of this game are just throwing shit out and just wanting us to figure it out. I don't think they even know what's up with this game. So this weird lady is talking and then we find ourselves on the beach. And after that, the story is pretty simple. The prince wakes up, explores a cave, and while he's exploring the cave, he keeps seeing these, he keeps hearing voices, and we keep saying this tree, and this tree is withering down slowly, and he's going through this cave trying to survive and get out of it. And then we see a carpet on the ground, and we just go there and we sit on it, and the carpet starts to fly.
I can show you the world. Swinging, swimming, stranded.
I didn't know we were playing Aladdin up in here, and this is not the only time that random shit starts to fly in this game. So we get on that carpet and we go to some abandoned, broken down castle. Now in this castle, there are just floating heads that are trying to kill us. Again, what are the story implications of that? Who are these floating heads who are trying to kill us? I mean, I am not the only one crazy here, right? This is crazy. This is crazy shit. None of this is explained. We never get to know who these flying heads are. And they are just trying to attack us. So, when we are exploring this abandoned castle or something, we get to a room and then suddenly we are in a flashback again. And then the lady comes back. The lady who has been throughout the game coming at random times and telling us about the dying tree and how the princess is going to die. And she just gives you a lore bomb, right? She tells you that our guy, the Prince of Persia, who was just a sailor before, he's also a prince of some kingdom, which was destroyed. And because when the kingdom was being destroyed, his mother, just gave the prince away to someone, so the prince survives. And that's a lore bomb. And then something crazy happens. You remember me telling you that this is not the only time that random shit starts to happen in this game, right? Okay, so once we get this father's sword, again we fight some enemies, go through the castle, then we get on top of these pillars, and we see this weird horse statue, which is presumably like a statue that the kingdom made or whatever. But that's not it. Of course it isn't. So what you have to do here is get on top of the pillars and just fucking jump on top of the horse. And what do you know? The horse comes alive. And now we are riding the horse to some place else. Why the horse comes alive? We don't fucking know. They don't tell us.
So, the horse is alive now, we are riding the horse, then we approach another place, another kingdom, presumably another castle. Now, you thought things were weird before, with flying carpets, random statues coming to life. No. Hell no, dude. This is where it gets real. So, if you remember the flashback that we just talked about, where his mother was telling the prince that how he is also a prince, his mother told him to take revenge. Take revenge from who? We have no idea. We arrive to this new castle on the horse, and we get off the horse. This is some kind of evil cultist shit where the people are wearing eagle costumes, or maybe are eagles because there are eagle people statues all around. So I'm not really sure about that. But when we get off the horse becomes a statue again. I mean, obviously. Now we are in this castle and we are fighting some eagle people or whatever they are. We have to go through this whole castle, and this castle is hard, man. Like, I'm not even joking. I was trying my best to not to look at any tutorials, but I couldn't help myself. This game doesn't tell you anything, and this game is so hard. Figured this shit out like back in the day because I haven't played this game. I mainly played the like Sands of Time trilogy and the games after that. I didn't really finish these games because I just couldn't as a kid. And now I know why I couldn't, because these games are so fucking hard. After we clear the castle and we like do all the puzzles and stuff which are extremely hard, we come across this flame, this burning flame, which just before in the previous room it says whoever controls the flame will die. And we will just choose to ignore that, because when we reach the flame, what we are supposed to do is just die. And then it tells us that we are dead, we can press any key to continue. But no, you don't have to press any key, because then the shadowy guy is back from the previous game. The shadowy guy comes out of our body, goes on top of the flame, becomes shadowy flame guy. Dude, I said it. I said the thing. That's the name of the game! So after he takes the flame, he just comes back and just merges with us again. And now the eagle people worship us? Why? I don't know, man. I don't know anything at this point. And oh boy, shit is about to get even weirder. So, remember the horse? Of course you do. We get on top of the horse, alright? But then, the horse just starts to fly. Yup. The horse just starts to fly. Why the horse flies? Why isn't he a statue again? No fucking clue. And on top of the castle, we just park our horse, get in through the window, and we go face to face with Jafar, who still looks like us. Now Jafar, after seeing us, full goes Itachi mode, and he just puts us in a genjutsu where there are giant spiders, mirrored versions of ourselves, and this illusion level, which I have to agree was pretty cool. Like the first time I saw it and played through this level, it was sick. But then, how we defeat Jafar is just we Hadouken him? Please tell me I'm dreaming. This can't be real. Have we always been able to Hadouken? Is this because of the fire?
what is the fire? And after just killing him with that Hadouken, he just melts into a puddle, which is pretty grim, and that which was a pretty good cutscene. And then they live happily ever after. But wait, what's this? I don't know what to say. I what the fuck? So the third game of the series is Prince of Persia 3D, which is also a continuation of the Prince of Persia Shadow and the Flame and the part that came previously. You already know what's coming, so let's just dive into this madness that is Prince of Persia 3D as well. So this game starts off with but our prince doesn't care. He asks where the princess is, but the sultan is like, no, you will sit here and watch this, and you will not disrespect his brother, which is King Asan, the rock-looking guy who's sitting there. The princess tries to come through the door, but they don't allow her, and then you realize this is a setup all along. And then the lady who was dancing very elegantly, she just kills the guards, and then they throw the prince into the prisons. Again, this guy just can't catch a break. So that's where the game starts. We are trying to get out of this prison and trying to save the princess. At least the prince doesn't run this time. But these developers and the guys who made this game had the gall, the chutzpah to put a water level into this game. Dude, I was stuck on this water level. Like, it comes instantly. Like, you escape the prison, the gameplay is pretty standard. You escape the prison and then there is instantly a water level. I was stuck here for so long because it just wouldn't allow me to get up the platform. I was pressing the button, but the controls are so janky because it's an old game, it just wouldn't work. So it was a struggle to just get out of this water level, and this is not the only one that comes throughout the game. There are so many water levels and places where you just jump into the water and the controls don't work. But I persevered through. We played the game still. I do it for you guys. I do it for the content. The gameplay of this game is pretty standard in most cases, and while you are playing this game and while you are solving all the puzzles that are there in this game, which are a lot, you start to see the building blocks of how the later games were developed and how this game was the basis of it. In this game, they surprisingly give you a lot of weapons, which was really fun, and the game is absolutely gorgeous. While playing throughout, I was mesmerized and on how beautiful some environments look, even if they have like two vertices on them, and even if they are very low poly, they looked really good. But I'm getting off track. Let's get back to the story. So once you do the first mission, then you do the second mission. It's pretty standard. You get a bow, you solve some puzzles, and then they show you the first cutscene. Is that a tiger who is a cousin of the princess? How does that work? Meanwhile, while that is happening, our prince reaches a library, and there he meets a guy who doesn't have a name. It's just a monk, and he talks to the prince, and this is how basically the conversation goes. Hey man, what'd that thing do? It's an elevator, man. But you can't take it. What should I do? Oh, I have this secret door. Just use that. Secret door? Yeah, man. Okay, cool. I'll take the secret door. Now, I don't know why this monk decides to help us and tell us of a secret door that they clearly have been hiding, but he just does, and you accept it. You go along with it. Maybe he's just a nice monk. I won't look too deep into it because I'm already going crazy. Then after you solve some puzzle and reach the top of the castle, there is a cutscene again. Now in this cutscene, Prince asks the Sultan to show him where the princess is. But the Sultan says, bro, I can marry you to 10 other women, but you can't have my daughter anymore because I was wrong marrying you to my daughter. And my daughter is going to marry King Asan's child, which is that tiger. I mean, that's cool. But then suddenly, this is where the shit gets crazy. While they are having this conversation, King Asan takes out a dagger from underneath his sleeves, which the prince sees, right? They clearly show you that the prince saw that dagger, but he does nothing. Then King Hassan throws the dagger, and while protecting the prince, Sultan just dies. And then while dying, he says that now the pact is cancelled and you can just go save the princess and she's yours. After saying that, he just dies. That's it. Then the prince is on the run again and he has to go save the princess now. Now we are introduced to my favorite character in the whole game. Check this out. Yep, you heard that right. My favorite character is not any special character in the game. It's just this old guy. He comes up to us, he shows us some sick moves, then we kill him and he dies in the most dramatic way possible, and that's it. Then when we get into the city, there's just this potion that we find. We decide to drink it and now we are like, look like the common folk of the city. Why is it there? We don't know. Why does that work? Not sure. After that, we go to the docks. And there are just lizard people now. Why? Are they just living with the people? Like, what's happening? Why are there lizard people now in this game? After we fight the big lizard man, we go in this area and there is just a rope lying there. Our prince takes out a flute, starts like just doing his thing, and the ropes just like get stiffened up like a snake. When did our prince learn to do that? Oh, that reminds me. Where are the previous powers that our prince had? He literally killed Jafar by doing a Hadouken on him. Like, why doesn't the prince use those? And then when we finally get to the princess, we realize that Ragnar is taking her somewhere. Not just anywhere. When he sees the prince, he just presses a button and they just fly off in a balloon. That's some sick tech, dude. I don't know who this Ragnar guy is, but he has some insane kind of technology and architecture. You will see in the future too. And then they just fly off. And then the prince does this sick move and gets on top of the balloon as well. After that, again, the gameplay is very standard. We go up the balloon, we have to climb it to get to the princess. Then when we get to the top, the balloon just catches on fire. And once it catches on fire, it is never mentioned ever again that the balloon is on fire. They don't crash. Nothing happens. The balloon is just on fire and nobody mentions it. And now when we get to the top of the balloon, we have to fight Ragnar now. And to be honest, it's a pretty sick fight. But then while fighting him, our prince just throws him off the balloon. He has to realize by now that that doesn't work because he tried it with Jafar as well. So he reunites with the princess while Ragnar is just falling down. And then what do you know? Ragnar comes back on a flying vulture and just takes the princess away. Again, while trying to save the princess, our prince just jumps on top of the vulture to no avail and they just throw him down. And he just fucking dies. Oh, I'm just joking with you. He just doesn't die. He just lands on a flying temple. Yep. He just lands on top in water on a flying temple. I don't know why it's there, but he just does. Now we have to go through this weird flying temple level with all these puzzles that are around. And then when we solve the puzzles, we have to put this gem in the eye of the statue. Once we do that, do you guys want to know who's back again? It's the flying horse thing. I mean, it's clearly supposed to be a griffin, but it's a flying four-legged thing again that our prince is going to ride to save the princess. Afterwards, when we get to this castle, I don't know how the prince knows the princess is there. He just starts riding. We get to a new castle. And in that castle, we have to fight these Minotaur people again. At this point, I'm not gonna even comment about them. We are just gonna agree that they are there and we are fighting them. While all this is happening, let's check back what's happening with the princess. All I will say is good effort, princess. Good effort. After this happens, our prince is still trying to get to the princess, and then we realize that now the tiger wants to kill the princess. And he puts her on this giant mechanism again, which I don't know why this guy has. Who is this guy? After that, the story is pretty simple. We reach Ragnar, we fight him, and then we save the princess, which is one of the endings where we save the princess, and in the other one, we don't save the princess. After all this, I am expecting this to have a very nice ending. Let's see how this game ends. No! 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 Not again! No! Jokes aside, I know I have been shitting on these 3 games throughout the video, but I absolutely loved my time while playing through them all again. I only have played the first one before when I was a kid, but playing through the other one and like seeing the progression of how they were solidifying the stuff and like the puzzles and all that, and especially seeing in this one how the level design and everything is very similar to the later games, it was extremely fun. I really want to do the other games as well, but if I do them in this video, the video is going to be very long, and I have decided to do them in 3 parts. In the next one, I'm going to do the Sands of Time trilogy, and then we are going to do the most modern ones. I hope you guys liked the video because I had an absolute blast while making it. This is something different than I usually do on this channel, so I hope you guys liked it. Other than that, I had a lot of fun making this. I hope you guys enjoyed. Bye bye.